Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yatha Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaraganatam Pitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Rana Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shivishkam Vidam Sya Om Agyana Timaranda Shah Gyanachana Shalakaya Chakshurum Milidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gorva Bhistam Sapurakam Gurganara Sesha Sambhoshitam Chintya Chintya Samastaveda Nipunam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govindam Vidam Ujwalam Bharatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Bande Vishwagurun Shah Divyat Bhagavat Prem Noe Bija Pranam Devam Divyatanum Suchandavaranam Balarka Chilanshitam Sandrananda Puram Sadeka Varanam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Banditam Shubharam Madhika Sharanam Nyasishvara Sridharam Mansakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyevacha Patitanam Bhavenebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahamananyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaurata Vishe Namah. So we're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupad. And this is the Madhya-lila, chapter 14, performance of the Vrindaban pastimes. And I'll begin with verse number 65. Nritya kore sandhya kale arati dekila aitota Shri Prabhu vishrama korila. In the evening, after finishing his dancing in the yard of the Gundicha temple, the Lord observed the arati ceremony. Thereafter he went to a place called Aitota and took rest for the night. So after the Ratha Yatra, the Lord stays at the Gundicha temple for 4 or 5 days. Then they have the ceremony of Hera Panchami, or Lakshmi Vijay, sometimes called, and then the deities of Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra go back to the Nilachala temple, or the Jagannath Puri temple. So right now, the deities have come to, in the Ratha Yatra, have come to the Gundicha temple, and Mahaprabhu is dancing there during the evenings. And, well, they are having Sankirtan and dancing and Arti and dancing in the evening. Advaitare Bhaktaganan Nimantrana Koila Mukya Nabachana Nabadina Paila. For 9 days, 9 chief devotees headed by Advaitacharya got an opportunity to invite the Lord to their homes. Arabhakta Gana Chatur Mashe Jatadin Ek Dina Kore Korela Bantan. During the 4 months of the rainy season, the remaining devotees extended invitations to the Lord for 1 day each. In this way, they shared invitations. Charima Saradina Mukya Bhakta Banti Nila Arabhakta Gana Avasarana Paila. For the 4-month period, all the daily invitations were shared among the important devotees. The rest of the devotees did not get an opportunity to extend an invitation to the Lord. Ekdini mantrana kore duitine mili emata Mahaprabhu nimantrana keli. Since they could not get 1 day each, 2 or 3 devotees combined to extend an invitation. These are the pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's acceptance of invitations. Pratakali snanakori deki jagana sankirtane nrityakori bhaktagana sant. After taking his bath early in the morning, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go to see Lord Jagannath in the temple. Then he would perform Sankirtan with his devotees. Kabu Advaite Nachaya Kabu Nityanande Kabu Haridase Nachaya Kabu Achutanande. By chanting and dancing, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu induced Advaitacharya to dance. Sometimes he induced Nityananda Prabhu, Haridas Thakur, and Achutananda to dance. Kabu Bakreshware, Kabu Arabhaktagane, Sri Sanja Kirtana Kore, Gundicha Prangane. Sometimes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu engaged Brakeshwar and other devotees in chanting and dancing. 3 times daily, morning, noon, and evening, he would perform Sankirtan in the yard of the Gundicha temple. Vrindavane Aila Krishna e Prabhora Gyan, Krishnera Viraha Swarte Hoila Avasan. At this time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt that Lord Krishna had returned to Vrindaban. Thinking this, his feelings of separation from Krishna subsided. Radha Sange Krishna Lila e Hoila Gyane, e Rase Magna Prabhu Hoila Apane. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always thinking of the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, and he remained personally merged in this consciousness. Nanojane Bhakta Sange Vrindavana Lila, Indratyumna Sarva Bhare Kore Jalakela. There were many gardens near the Gundicha temple, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees used to perform the pastimes of Vrindavan in each of them. In the lake named Indradyumna, he sported in the water. Apane Sakala Bhakte Sinche Jaladiya Sabbhakta Gana Sinche Chodike Bidya. The Lord personally splashed all the devotees with water, and the devotees surrounding him on all sides also splashed the Lord. Kabu ek mandala kabu aneka manda jala manduka badye sabe bajaya karato. While in the water they sometimes formed one circle and sometimes many circles. And while in the water they used to play kartos and imitate the croaking of frogs. Dui dui jane meli kore jalaran, keho hare keho jine prabhu kore darashan. Sometimes 2 would pair off to fight in the water. One would emerge victorious and the other defeated, and the Lord would watch all this fun. Advaita Nityanande Jala Fela Feli Acharya Hari Apache Kore Galagali. The first sporting took place between Advaitacharya and Nityananda Prabhu, who threw water upon each other. Advaitacharya was defeated, and he later began to rebuke Nityananda Prabhu, calling him ill names. Vidyanider Jalakeli Swarup Perasane Gupta Datte Jalakeli Kore Duijane. Swarup Damodar and Vidyanidhi also threw water upon each other, and Murari Gupta and Vasudeva Datta also sported in that way. Srivas Sahita Jala Keli Garadar Raghava Pandita Sane Keli Bakreshwar. Another duel took place between Srivas Thakur and Gadadhar Pandit, and yet another between Raghava Pandit and Bakeshwara Pandit. Thus they all engaged in throwing water. Sarvabhauma Sangha Kele Ramananda Roy, Gambhirya Gela Dohar Hoila Sishuprai. Indeed, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya engaged in water sports with Sri Ramananda Roy, and they both lost their gravity and became like children. Mahaprabhu Tadohara Chanshaya Dekiya Gopinatacharya Kichu Kohina Hasya. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw the exuberance of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Ramananda Roy, he smiled and spoke to Gopinatacharya. Pandita Gambhir Duhe Pramanika Jan Balo Chanchaya Kore Koraha Barjan. Tell the Bhattacharya and Ramananda Roy to stop their childish play, because they are both learned scholars and very grave and great personalities. So the Mahaprabhu is, of course, joking. Gopinatha kohe tomara kripa mahasindhu uchalita kore jabe tara ek bindu. Gopinathacharya replied, I believe that one drop of the ocean of your great mercy has swelled up upon them. Meru mandara parva dubaya jata tata edui ganda shaila ihara kakata. A drop from the ocean of your mercy can drown great mountains like Sumeru and Mandara. Since these two gentlemen are little hills by comparison, it is no wonder that they are being drowned in the ocean of your mercy. Shushkatarka kalikaite janma gela jara tare lila mrita piyao e kripa tomara. Logic is like a dry oil cake from which all the oil has been extracted. The Bhattacharya passed his life in eating such dry cakes, but now you have made him drink the nectar of transcendental pastimes. It is certainly your great mercy upon him. So when they make oil, like from peanuts or from the other they take, or from mustard seeds, whatever, they press it and take out the oil, but what's left is very dry. Maybe they can feed that to cows or something. But here it says, logic is like a dry oil cake from which all the oil has been extracted. The Bhattacharya passed his life in eating such dry cakes, but now you have made him drink the nectar of transcendental pastimes. It is certainly your great mercy upon him. Ase Mahaprabhu tabe adwaite anila jalera uparitare sesha shaya koila. After Gopinathacharya finished talking, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled and, calling for Advaitacharya, made him act like a Sesha Naga bed. Apaneta hara upara korila shayan Sesha Shai Lila Prabhu Koila Prakatan. Lying down on Advaitacharya, who was floating on the water, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu demonstrated the pastime of Sesha Shai Vishnu, of Sesha Naga carrying Vishnu on him. Advaita Nija Shakti Prakata Koriya Mahaprabhu Loya Bule Jalete Basiya. Manifesting his personal potency, Advaitacharya floated about on the water carrying Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Emata Jala Krida Kori Katakan Ayotota Aila Prabhu Loya Bhaktagan. After sporting in the water for some time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to his place at Aitota, accompanied by his devotees. Puri Bharati Adi Jata Mukhya Bhaktagan Acharjera Nimantrane Korila Bojan. Paramananda Puri, Brahmananda Bharati, and all the other chief devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took lunch at the invitation of Advaitacharya. Vanina Tarajata Prashada Anila Mahaprabhu Gane Se Prashada Koila. Whatever extra prasadam was brought by Vaninath Roy was taken by the other associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Aparane asi koila darshana nartan nishate ujane asi korila shayan. In the afternoon, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the Gundicha temple to visit the Lord and dance. At night, he went to the garden to take rest. Aradina Sekoila Ishwara Darshan Prangane Nritya Gita Koila Katakan. The next day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also went to the temple of Gundicha and saw the Lord. He then chanted and danced in the yard for some time. Bhaktagana Sange Prabhu Ujjane Asya Vrindavana Bihara Kore Bhaktagana Loya. Accompanied by his devotees, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then went into the garden and enjoyed the pastimes of Vrindaban. Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur has pointed out that this Vrindaban Bihar, the pastimes of Vrindaban, does not refer to Krishna's mixing with the gopis or the transcendental mellow of Parakiya Ras. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Vrindaban Lila in the garden of Jagannath Puri did not involve association with women or with other people's wives in the fashion transcendentally demonstrated by Sri Krishna. In his Vrindaban Lila, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu conceived of himself as the assistant of Srimati Radharani. When Srimati Radharani enjoyed the company of Krishna, her maidservants were very pleased. One should not compare Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Vrindaban Bihar in the garden of Jagannath with the activities of the Gauranga Nagaris. Gauranga Nagaris imitate the pastimes of Krishna, and that's just some sahajya or sahajismo. Brikavali Prapudita Prabhudarshane Dringa Pika Gaya Bahe Shitala Pavane. There were multifarious trees and creepers in the garden, and they were all jubilant to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Indeed, the birds were chirping, the bees were buzzing, and a cool breeze was blowing. Prate Brikatale Prabhu Korana Nartan Vasudeva Datta Matra Korana Gayan. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced beneath each and every tree, Vasudeva Datta sang alone. Ek ek brikatale, ek ganagai, parama aveshe eka, nache gorarai. As Vasudeva Datta sang a different song beneath each and every tree, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced there alone in great ecstasy. Tabe Rakeshware Prabhu Kohila Nachite, Rakeshwara Nache Prabhu Lagila Gaite. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then ordered Rakeshwara to dance, and as he began to dance, the Lord began to sing. So Rakeshwara Pandit, he's very expert at dancing. And Mahaprabhu said, let's see, I have one, Rakeshwara Pandit, he said, I have one wing like you, but if I had another, I could fly in the sky. That's what Mahaprabhu said about Rakeshwara Pandit. Prabhu Sange Swarupare Kirtaniya Gai Dikbirik Nahigyan Primera Banjai. The devotees like Swarup Damodar and other kirtan performers began to sing along with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Being inundated with ecstatic love, they lost all consideration of time and circumstance. E mata katakan kore mana lila, narendra sarovare gela, korite jalakela. After thus performing pastimes in the garden for some time, they all went to a lake called Narendra Sarovara and there enjoyed sporting in the water. Jalakrita Kore Puna Aila Ujjane Bojana Lila Koila Prabhu Laya Bhaktagane. After sporting in the water, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to the garden and accepted prasadam with the devotees. Navadin Pundi Chate Rohe Jagannath Mahaprabhu Aiche Lila Kore Bhaktasata. For 9 continuous days, His Lordship Sri Jagannath Dev stayed at the Gundicha temple. During this time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also stayed there and performed the pastimes with his devotees that have already been described. Jagannath Vallabha Nama Bora Pushparam Nava Dina Korin Prabhu Tatai Vishram. The garden of his pastimes was very large. It was named Jagannath Vallabha. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took his rest there for 9 days. Hera Panchamira Dina Aila Janiya Kashimishre Kohiraja Shayatna Korea. Knowing that the Hera Panchami festival was drawing near, King Prataparudra attentively talked with Kashi Mishra. Kalya Herama Panchami Habe Lakmira Vijay Aiche Utsava Kora Jena Kabunahi Hoi. Tomorrow will be the function of Hera Panchami or Lakshmi Vijay. Hold this festival in a way that it has never been held before. The Hera Panchami festival takes place 5 days after the Ratha Yatra festival. Lord Jagannath has left his wife, the goddess of fortune, and gone to Vrindaban, which is the Gundicha temple. Due to separation from the Lord, the goddess of fortune decides to come to see the Lord at Gundicha. The coming of the goddess of fortune to Gundicha is celebrated as Hera Panchami. Sometimes this is misspelled as Hara Panchami among the Ativadis. The word Hera means to see and refers to the goddess of fortune going to see Lord Jagannath. The word Panchami means the 5th day, and it is used because this takes place on the 5th day of the moon. Mahotsava Korapa Taiche Vishesha Sambar Dekima Prabhur Jaiche Hoi Chamatkar. Maharaj Prataparudra said, hold the festival in such a gorgeous way that upon seeing it, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be completely pleased and astonished. Thakur bandare ara amara bandare chitra bastra kinkini ara chatra chamare. There are many printed cloths, small bells, umbrellas, and chamaras. Take as many printed cloths, small bells, umbrellas, and chamaras as there are in my storehouse and in the deity storehouse. Vaja Brindat Patak Gantaya Koraha Mandan Nanabadya Nritya Dolai Koraha Sajan. Collect all kinds of small and large flags and ringing bells. Then decorate the carrier and have various musical and dancing parties accompany it. In this way, decorate the carrier attractively. Dwiguna Korea Kara Saba Upahar Rata Jatra Hoite Jaiche Hoi Chamatkar. You should also double the quantity of prasada. Make so much that it will even surpass the Ratha Yatra festival. Saita Korea Prabhu Loya Bhaktagan Swachandeya Siya Jaiche Korana Darshan. Arrange the festival in such a way that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu may freely go with all his devotees to visit the deity without difficulty. Pratakale Mahaprabhu Nijagan Loya Jagannath Darshana Koila Sundarachala Jana. In the morning, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took his personal associates with him to see Lord Jagannath at Sundarachala. Sundarachala is the Gundicha temple. The temple of Jagannath at Jagannath Puri is called Nilachala, and the temple of Gundicha is called Sundarachala. Nilachale Aila Puna Bhaktagan Sange Dekite Utkanta Hera Panchamera Range. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his personal devotees returned to Nilachala with great eagerness to see the Hera Panchami festival. Kashimishra Prabhure Bahu Adara Korea Swagana Sahabalo Stani Basaila Loya. Kashi Mishra received Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with great respect, and taking the Lord and his associates to a very nice place, he had them seated. Rasa Vishesha Prabhu Shunite Manahoila Ishad Hasiya Prabhu Swarupe Uchila. After taking his seat, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to hear about a particular mellow of devotional service. Therefore, mildly smiling, he began to question Swarup Damodar. Jajapi Jagannath Koren Dwarakaya Bihar Sahaja Prakata Kore Parama Udar Tatapi Vatsara Madhye Hoy Ekbar Vrindavana Dakite Tara Utkanta Apar. Although Lord Jagannath enjoys his pastimes at Dwarkadam and naturally manifests sublime liberality there, still, once a year he becomes unlimitedly eager to see Vrindaban. Vrindavana sama e upavana kana tahadaki bare utkanti ta hoyaman. Pointing out the neighboring gardens, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, all these gardens exactly resemble Vrindaban. Therefore, Lord Jagannath is very eager to see them again. Bahira hoite kore rata jatra chal Sundarachala jai Prabhu chade bishal. Bahir hoite kore rata jatra chal Sundarachala jai Prabhu chade nila chal. Externally, he gives the excuse that he wants to participate in the Rath Yatra festival, but actually he wants to leave Jagannath Puri to go to Sundarachala, the Gundicha temple, a replica of Vrindaban. Nana Pushpodhyane Tata Keli Ratridine Lakshmi Devire Sange Nahi Loya Ki Karane. The Lord enjoys his pastimes day and night in various flower gardens there. But why does he not take Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, with him? So why doesn't he take Lakshmi Devi, his wife, with him? Swarup Kohe Shuna Prabhu Koraha Ihar Vrindavane Kridate Latmir Nahi Adhikar. So don't forget before you go. Swarup Kohe Shuna Prabhu Korana Ihar Vrindavana Kridate Latmira Nahi Adhikar. Swarup Damodar said, my dear Lord, please hear the reason for this. Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, cannot be admitted to the pastimes of Vrindaban. Vrindavana Lilaya Krishnera Sahaya Gopigana Bina Krishner Korite Nariman. In the pastimes of Vrindaban, the only assistants are the gopis. But for the gopis, no one can attract the mind of Krishna. Prabhu Kohe Jatra Chale Krishnera Gaman Subhadra Arabala Deva Sange Duijan. The Lord said, using the car festival as an excuse, Krishna goes there with Subhadra and Baladev. Gopi Sange Jata Lila Hoya Upavane Nigura Krishnera Bhava Keho Nahi Jane. All the pastimes with the gopis that take place in those gardens are very confidential ecstasies of Lord Krishna. No one knows them. Ateva Krishnera Prakatye Nahi Kichudosh Tavikene Lakshmi Devi Kore Itarosh. Since there is no fault at all in Krishna's pastimes, why does the goddess of fortune become angry? So the Lord said, using the car festival as an excuse, Krishna goes there with Subhadra and Baladev. All the pastimes with the gopis that take place in those gardens are very confidential ecstasies of Lord Krishna, and no one knows them. Since there is no fault at all in Krishna's pastimes, why does the goddess of fortune become angry? Dandavad. Swarup ko he prima vatir eta swabhav kanter audasya leshe hoy krodabhav. Swarup Damodar replied, it is the nature of a girl afflicted by love to become immediately angry upon finding any neglect on the part of her lover. Henekale kachita jahe bibida ratan suvarnara chodawala kore arohan. We're reading about Lakshmi Vijay, Hera Panchami, after the Ratha Yatra.
So nice, Maharaj. I still hope to edit your sound.
Huh?
I still hope to edit your classes when you can.
Okay.
Okay. See you.
Fine. Henekale kachita jahe vibida ratan suvarnera chodola kori arohan. While Swarup Damodar and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were talking, a procession of the goddess of fortune came by. She was riding upon a golden palanquin, carried by 4 men and bedecked with a variety of jewels. Chatra Chamara Dwaja Patakaragan Nanabadya Agenache Devadashigan. The palanquin was also surrounded by people carrying umbrellas, chamara lifts, and flags, and it was preceded by musicians and dancing girls. Tambula Samputa Jari Vyanjana Chamar Sate Dasi Shatahara Divya Bhushambar. The maidservants were carrying water pitchers, chamara whisks, and boxes for betel nuts. There were hundreds of maidservants, all attractively dressed and wearing valuable necklaces. Alokika Aishwarya Sange Bahu Paribar Krudahaya Lakshmi Devi Aila Simadwar. In an angry mood, the goddess of fortune arrived at the main gate of the temple, accompanied by many members of her family, all of whom exhibited uncommon opulence. Jagannather Mukhya Jata Rityagane Lakshmi Devir Dashigana Korana Bandhane. When the procession arrived, the maid servants of the goddess of fortune began to arrest all the principal servants of Lord Jagannath. Bandhiyaniya Pade Lakmira Charane Charijana Dandakore Loy Nanadane. The maidservants bound the servants of Jagannath, handcuffed them, and made them fall down at the lotus feet of the goddess of fortune. Indeed, they were arrested, just like thieves who have all their riches taken away. When Lord Jagannath starts his car festival, he gives assurance to the goddess of fortune that he will return the next day. When he does not return, the goddess of fortune, after waiting 2 or 3 days, begins to feel that her husband has neglected her. She naturally becomes quite angry. Gorgeously decorating herself and her associates, she comes out of the temple and stands before the main gate. All the principal servants of Lord Jagannath are then arrested by her maidservants, brought before her, and forced to fall down at her lotus feet. Achi Tanavat Tare Koranab Tarane Nanamata Kalidena Bandabachane. When the servants fell down before the lotus feet of the goddess of fortune, they almost fell unconscious. They were chastised and made the butt of jokes and loose language. Lakmi Sangeda Ganer Pragalbya Dekiya Hase Mahaprabhu Gana Mukhe Hastadiya. When Mahaprabhu's associates saw such impudence exhibited by the maidservants of the goddess of fortune, they covered their faces with their hands and began to smile. Damodar koheaiche manera prakar trijagate kahanahi deki shuniar. Swarup Damodar said, there is no There is no egoistic pride like this within the three worlds. At least I have never seen or heard of it. Manini nirutsahe chari vibhushan bhumech base nake leke malina badan. When a woman is neglected and disappointed out of egoistic pride, she gives up her ornaments and morosely sits down on the ground, marking lines on it with her nails. Purve satyabhamar shuni evam bidaman braje gopir braje gopi ganer mana rasera nidan. Purve satyabhamar shuni evam bidaman braje gopi ganer mana rasera nidan. I've heard of this kind of pride in Satyabhama, Krishna's proudest queen, and I have also heard of it in the gopis of Vrindaban, who are the reservoirs of all transcendental mellows. Iho nijava sampati sab prakata korya priyera upara jaya shainya sajana. But in the case of the goddess of fortune, I see a different kind of pride. She manifests her own opulences and even goes with her soldiers to attack her husband. After seeing the impudence of the goddess of fortune, Swarup Damodar wanted to inform Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about the super excellence of the gopis' loving affairs. He therefore said, "My Lord, I have never experienced anything like the behavior of Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune. We sometimes see a beloved wife become proud of her position and then frustrated due to some neglect. She then gives up caring for her appearance, accepts dirty clothes, and morosely sits on the ground and draws lines with her nails. We have heard of such egoistic pride in Satyabhama and the gopis of Vrindaban, but what we see in the goddess of fortune here at Jagannath Puri is completely different. She becomes very angry with her husband and attacks him with great opulence. Prabhu kohe keho brajera manera prakar Swarupa kohe gopigan gopimana nadi shattadar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Please tell me of the varieties of egoistic pride manifested in Vrindaban." Swarup Damodar replied, "The pride of the gopis is like a river flowing with hundreds of tributaries." So I'm going to continue with this tomorrow. This is very nice. The behavior of the goddess of fortune, she's very proud and dresses up so nicely, whereas it says that normal behavior of a woman who's neglected by her husband will become morose. She won't worry about her appearance. She'll sit down and maybe feel sad, mark the ground with her nails, but here the goddess of fortune is completely different because her mood is Aishwarya Gyan, and she will become, when she's angry that Jagannath has gone away, he said he was going for one day, but he hasn't come back, then she goes with her soldiers and goes to attack her husband and exhibits a different form. She doesn't show neglect. She dresses up more opulently and becomes more proud. So tomorrow I'll continue reading about this. This part of this chapter of the Vrindavan pastimes, because this is what happens after the Jagannath Ratha Yatra. 5 days afterwards is Lakshmi Vijay or Hera Panchami, and what we're hearing about is the activity of this. First we hear about Mahaprabhu's Vrindavan pastimes that he's showing in the different gardens near Gundicha, and he's going beneath the trees and they're singing a different song under each tree, and Mahaprabhu's dancing. So this is the pastimes of after coming to the Gundicha temple, which is where they go on Vrindavan, on Jagannath Ratha Yatra. Then all this is occurring. on this Hare Panchami, 5 days after the Rath Yatra. So I'll sing Hari Haraya now. Very nice chapter. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama. Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama. Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama. Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan. Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan. Giridhari Gopinatha Maranaman. Giridhari Gopinatha Namohan. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra. Chaitanya Nityananda Advaita Chandra. Garadhara Shiva Sari Gora Bhaktavinda. Garadhara Shiva Sari Gora Bhaktavinda. Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunath. Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunath. Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Rasa Raghunath. Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Rasa Raghunath. Echai Gosai Gauri Chanana Bandhan. Jai Gosai Gauri Chanana Bandhan. Jao Eke Vignana Shamishta Puran. Jao Eke Vignana Shamishta Puran. Echai Gosai Jar Mui Karadas. Jai Gosai Jar Mui Karadas. Tasabar Pada Renu Mora Panchagras. Tasabar Pada Renu Mora Panchagras. Kader Chanana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas. Kader Chanana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas. Janame More Ambilas. Janame More Ambilas. Echai Gosai Jabe Brante Koilabas. Echai Gosai Jabe Brante Koilabas. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash. Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash. Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan. Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjayi Aman. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjayi Aman. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyan. Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyan. Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Narathamudam. Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Narathamudam. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gora Hari Wo, Hari Wo, Hari Wo, Hari Wo. Nitai Gora Hari Wo, Hari Wo, Hari Wo, Hari Wo. Nitai Gora Hari Wo, Hari Wo, Hari Wo, Hari Wo. Nitai Gora Hari Wo, Hari Wo, Hari Wo, Hari Wo. Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Juki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Tilak Niri Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmawacharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parabhajaka Charyashta Saraswat Shishimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parabhajaka Charyashta Saraswat Shishimad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivedanta Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Shri Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Premsigo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Srila Vrindaban Das Thakur Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Narottam Srinivas Shamananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Vishvaparenya Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupad Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Kusham Ashram Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Ram Mayapur Ki Jai. Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshada Shriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Shri Koladvi Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Soquel Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Seva Ashram Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Vrindaban Dham Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Ko Gopi Govardhan. Shyam Guna Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Jo Ki Jai. Shri Purushottam Dham Ki Jai. Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Jo Ki Jai. Bhakti Vigna Abhinashaya Shri Nrsimha Dev Ki Jai. Bhakta Prabhara Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.